guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're obviously going to be doing a first trimester recap video because I'm pregnant and I'm so excited. This is our third child. I've had a pretty big gap. Well, not too big. It's been like 6 years since I had my second child, so it's been some time because there's only a 3-year gap between the first and the second one. And I am also 10 years older than I was when I first got pregnant. I first got pregnant at 19 and a half. Now I'm 29 and a half. It's a big difference, and I'm just very excited because this is the first time that we actually tried to get pregnant. The first 2 were surprises. It's a completely different experience, and I think it's a good thing. So yeah, I'm going to just talk to you about my experience, some tips and things that I'm doing. I'm also now in my second trimester. I am 18 weeks. I still have everything fresh in my head, so I wanted to go ahead and get this video out now because I really want to help anyone who is going to get pregnant or is already pregnant or plans to get pregnant, or just anybody who's curious. I do have some notes that I have on my phone, so I will be referencing this. So I did ask on my Instagram if anyone had any questions or anything that they wanted me to add to this video. I'm going to answer those questions throughout the whole entire recap because it's kind of like the same things that I was going to answer anyway. One of the first questions I got was what were the first symptoms of pregnancy? Like I said, we actually tried for this one. So with the first 2, I was completely surprised, but with this pregnancy, I actually had a different symptom. With the first 2 pregnancies, the first symptoms I had was just cramping, just period-like cramping, and it felt like my period was going to come. It just never came. So that was the first symptom I had with the first 2 pregnancies. This time I had implantation bleeding, and implantation bleeding usually occurs between like 10 to 14 days after conception. So I follow my cycle really well. I've always done that, and my cycle is always on time. It's exact, and I follow it. I have apps for it, which I'll share in a bit. I know when I'm ovulating and when it's possible to conceive, so that's why I have been able to not get pregnant all these years, because I am not on birth control. I was only on birth control once in my life, and that was for a very short time. That's why it's important for me to follow my cycle. But I think, sorry, I had an interruption and I had to go and get some snacks for the girls, for me. I'm just kidding. But I think I know where I left off. So implantation bleeding, it usually lasts 1 to 2 days, and it's usually just like a tinge, just a little bit that you find on your underwear or maybe when you wipe. So this is the first time that I've had implantation bleeding. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I know this isn't my period. My cycle is super normal, so I knew that this was something, you know, different. And so I remember I was like, okay, this might be implantation bleeding, because I know I've heard of that before. So I looked into it and I was like, yeah, I'm actually at the time frame that implantation bleeding usually occurs, so I'm like, I might be pregnant. But I didn't want to get too excited. I didn't tell my husband because I didn't want to get him too excited. So I decided just to wait it off. At first symptom was implantation bleeding, and then it was cramping, like period-like cramping, and then immediately sore boobs. Like they got bigger and very, very sore and sensitive. So that was one of the first things. Like, it happened immediately, and I'm surprised at how quick it happened, because it's been a while since I've been pregnant, but I just don't remember it being so soon. But yeah, it was like immediately. So like I said, I'm very in touch with my cycle, so I think all women should be. So yeah, I use the Flow app to track my cycle, so that's the one that I recommend. I mean, I'm pretty sure any app could work, but I use that one, and so I can like link it or show you maybe a little bit of the way it looks here. Another question that I received that I will touch on now is if I'm concerned about the age gap between the girls and this pregnancy. The only concern I had with the age gap was, the only big concern I had was the fact that, like I think I mentioned earlier, that I was pregnant at 19 the first time around. Second time around I was like 23, maybe 24, and then this time I'm 29. So that's the only thing I was concerned with, and it was a little bit weird for me because I've always been that young mom, like that super young mom. And people tell me, I don't know about now, but people used to tell me that I looked like a teenager. So although I was like in my 20s, people still thought I was like 15. So I've always been like that young mom. I'm older, I'm almost in my 30s. So the only concern I really had was like my health. I wanted to make sure that I was still fertile. I also started drinking alcohol out here, and I've never really drank alcohol in my life, maybe like Occasionally I'd have like a drink or two, but hardly ever. I've been pregnant and breastfeeding most of my adult life. So the first time that I actually had a break where I wasn't breastfeeding or I wasn't pregnant was here in Italy. I did, of course, enjoy the wine, enjoy that whole like feeling like, okay, I'm not like, I don't have to worry about little babies anymore. So I know that that alcohol is not, it wasn't normal for me. Like, it's not something that I've you know, been doing for many years. So I know that, I knew that I had to make sure to, you know, detoxify. So that's the reason why I was like a little bit more concerned, because I've already been drinking more, I'm older, and you know, I don't know how my body would be different from trying to get pregnant now to me getting pregnant like so easily without even trying at the, you know, the beginning of my 20s. So before we actually agreed to have another baby. The other minor concern was, well, I mean, we're kind of almost done already with, you know, having little kids, and now we're starting over. But I was like, I'm a mom, that's my thing. Like, I've always wanted more kids, and so I just felt like, okay, I think we're ready. I think I'm ready. Once we agreed to try again, I was like, I want this baby. Like, I want a baby now. Like, I'm so ready. I was confident. And then the last concern would just be like the connection, like with the older kids and the young one. But I just saw it as a benefit because my daughters are super duper excited, and they're older, and they're gonna be such great helpers. And I think that's gonna be really nice to have like the older siblings, you know, teach the younger sibling and be there for them, look out for them. And I think that's just really nice. So the next major thing in my first trimester was nausea. And I'm sure if you've been through it, it's the worst. And before I got pregnant, and I knew that nausea was a thing because my first pregnancy was horrible. I lost weight, I threw up every day, all day. And second pregnancy was a breeze. Like, I do not recall anything major or anything like that. It was very easy. And then this last one was like in between of both of those. So it was not so easy, but it wasn't so bad like the first one. But for sure nausea did happen. And before I got pregnant with the third baby, I was trying to manifest like, I don't want to have nausea, like let's let everything go smoothly, because I just get, you know, that anxiety that comes with nausea. It's just like a horrible feeling. I was just scared about that. But of course I try not to think about it too much and just, you know, take it easy. I think on the pregnancy apps, it tells you that nausea usually peaks or like begins around 6 weeks. And it sure did. At exactly 6 weeks, it was bad. So I did experience nausea beginning at 6 weeks throughout the whole first trimester, but I think the worst weeks were week 6, 7, and 8. It started kind of going down a little bit, but it was still happening. And of course it continued after that, but the worst weeks were 6 and 7. It was like 2 straight weeks of like me being in bed, not being able to see food, talk about food, think about food. It was just horrible. And at the 6th week was when my husband had to leave. He's in the military, so he had to take off for, I don't know if it was like 2 or 3 weeks. Luckily, my in-laws, like, they were here with us. I think that helped big time, the fact that I had their help with my other girls, because I have 2 daughters who need to eat and need to be taken care of, and I just could not cook. I could not look at food. So I don't believe in coincidences, so it kind of happened perfectly, the fact that my in-laws were here visiting at that time. And so that was really nice to have them here to help you know, make food. So like I said, I was in bed, I would try to eat. Like, I literally had to eat, and then I had to go run to the couch and lay down, or like, you know, kind of incline myself so that I wasn't completely laying down, so that my food can still digest. But I had to lay down because I felt like I was gonna throw up, and just like laying down helped me. So I just needed to like go away. And so I want to share some tips that helped me with nausea. And one of the tips is smelling peppermint oil. So I have essential oils, and I have peppermint in stock, and I had heard previously that peppermint is good. I would literally just open the bottle and just like take some whiffs of it, and it helped me. Immediately when I would sniff it, it would like, I would experience immediate relief. It's not something that would help like long term, like the whole entire day. Maybe if I would have put a put in a diffuser. Maybe it would have helped if I was consistently smelling it. So maybe if you're into that, you can try that out and see if that helps you, like putting some peppermint oil in a diffuser. But just make sure that the oils are good quality, high quality. They're not like, there's no additives or anything mixed into it. It's just like pure essential oils. Organic is better, obviously. And so maybe you can try that. Another thing that helps is ginger tea. You can like chop up ginger and put it into boiling water and, you know, drink it, let it steep in there. But I had actually ginger tea bags, so I just would do that and it kind of helped. But like really, these remedies did help, but they didn't eliminate the nausea. So I think it's just something that you have to go through if it happens to you. And like I said, I get this like anxiety that comes around with nausea. I got to the point where it was so bad that I decided like, okay, I'm going to just accept it. Like I started thinking like, is there a reason why this is happening to me? Am I deficient in something? Am I like, what is the reason here? And are there just like underlying fears? Is it all in my head? Like, did I manifest it because I was so afraid that like it was on my mind? Maybe it ended up manifesting because I thought about it before I even got pregnant. What I think helped me at a certain point was when I was already like, couldn't take it anymore. I started accepting it. I started trying not to fight it. And I think not fighting it really helped a lot, because it's like you can kind of let it pass you and go through you instead of you just constantly trying to fight it, you know? So you kind of just experience it and then you kind of just are okay with it in a way. And that really helped because I just accepted like, okay, my body is doing what it needs to do for my baby. And you really have to be strong at that time, because there is moments where I was like, why? Like it feels like you're in a deep hole. For me, at least, it felt like I was in a deep hole and I was never gonna come out of it. I'm in my second trimester now and I feel amazing. My energy is back, my appetite is back. I still have some food aversions to certain things, but for the most part, I feel good. I can cook, I can clean, I can do everything now. So I'm so grateful, and just letting you know, if you're in your first trimester and you're experiencing nausea and or vomiting, you will get through it. It's gonna get better. It's all worth it. And just know that your body is doing exactly what it needs to do, and you're gonna get past it, and just, it's worth it, okay? You're gonna have your beautiful baby in a few months. With this pregnancy, although I was experiencing horrible nausea, I never actually threw up. There was one time where like when I was brushing my teeth, I started gagging. I kind of dry heaved a little bit and a little bit of like spit came out, sorry TMI, but it wasn't like full on throwing up. So I didn't actually throw up throughout the whole entire first trimester. So that was good. Another thing that really helped with nausea, and I really noticed it this time around, was not letting my stomach go empty. Just making sure to always have something to nibble on or something to have around me so that my stomach is never actually fully empty. So anytime I felt like a bit of hunger, like I have to feed myself immediately. I think for like 2 weeks I was eating so many Ritz crackers, like they were on my bedside, because I just needed something to nibble on. I just take nibbles, like I'm not trying to eat too fast or too big of a bites, because that can also upset my stomach. And I think out of all the things, I think this one is the one that helped me the most, not letting my stomach go empty. Like after I would have my meal and then I started getting a little bit hungry, it's like I have like a short time frame before I have to put food in my stomach again, or else I'll start feeling that nausea and then it's hard to come back from it, at least for me. So I always had crackers around me. I also tried having bananas, because bananas are like, you know, very just simple, they're bland, they're just simple foods. But that leads to the next one. I was having heartburn, and I don't think I've experienced heartburn at all with any of my other pregnancies, or even in general. I've never really experienced heartburn. So I did experience heartburn with this pregnancy, and it wasn't fun. And I think the heartburn mixed with the nausea, it was like a horrible mixture. There were times when I couldn't even tell if I was experiencing heartburn or nausea, just because I just didn't feel good. You just feel ill. I know that heartburn has a lot to do with digestion, because when you're pregnant, your body slows down in digestion, your metabolism, because it's trying to take more nutrients out of the food to give it to the baby. It's just amazing how smart and amazing our bodies are, because that's the reason why constipation is more common in pregnancy, because your body is working a little bit slower to digest the food, because it's trying to pull as many nutrients as it can to feed your baby to help your baby grow and obviously to nourish you as well. So heartburn can have something to do with that because the food stays in you a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer for everything to go down. And so heartburn was another thing I experienced. I think what helped me, because like I said, my in-laws were there, so my mother-in-law was telling me that my father-in-law, when he experiences heartburn, he has like yogurt or something like cold and something that can like kind of like balance it out, and usually it's yogurt. So I did have a few bites of yogurt sometimes, or like a little probiotic like yogurt. It's like liquid yogurt. Maybe I'll post a picture here. So I tried it one day and it did help. The freshness of it helped. I think there was maybe like once or twice where it helped a lot, but then there's other times where it just didn't really help, and I didn't really want to drink too much like dairy at the time because I was like, my stomach was so sensitive. The other thing is water is very important when you're pregnant, or just in general, water is so important. If you ask anyone who knows me or who's close to me, you know that my remedy for everything when someone is feeling off or sick or having a headache, I always say drink more water, because it's the simplest thing, but so many people don't even realize that they're dehydrated. So water is so important that I try to make sure to, you know, stay hydrated, because my body tells me when I'm dehydrated, I start cramping, like it kind of feels like period cramps. So that happens to me even when I'm not pregnant, but of course while I'm pregnant, like I did feel some cramping sometimes, and I knew that it was because of the water, and it would kind of, I mean, some of it has to do with like your uterus and everything stretching out, but other times it just happened because I needed water. And I'm the biggest water girl, but during this pregnancy, I couldn't drink that much water, because anytime I would drink water, I would get very nauseous, and it sucked. Luckily I didn't throw up, so I didn't deal with dehydration like that. It was frustrating because I know how important water is, but I couldn't drink a lot of water. I just constantly felt dehydrated and thirsty, and that's not me. And one thing for me, this might be TMI, but like my pee is hardly ever yellow. Like it's never even, it's very usually like clearish, or, you know, not too clear, but it's never like that bright yellow. You know, I know some people pee like that. And with the pregnancy at the beginning, my pee was actually yellow, like, and I was like, this is not okay, like I shouldn't be yellow, or at least this yellow. So I know that I wasn't drinking as much water as I could, but relating that to the heartburn, when you drink a lot of water like right before your meal or during your meal, it kind of like dilutes the whole like acidic gut stuff that breaks down the food. So that can cause heartburn because it's taking longer to digest and break down. So if you don't drink a lot of water before your meal or during your meal, that's supposed to help as well. Another tip, if you're feeling really tired, is of course rest. And I think feeling extra tired and overwhelmed also doesn't help with the whole nausea that you might be feeling, because that's definitely what I did. I felt nauseous and just tired, so resting and laying down was amazing. And if you have the help, then just take advantage of that and listen to your body and just rest when you can. If your body is telling you to rest, you need to rest, because that's just exactly what your body needs to help you and your baby, and just everything run smoother. One thing that I did prior to getting pregnant was I would drink daily green smoothies in the morning, and I'm also going to have another video soon after this where I talk about the things that I did to prepare for this pregnancy, because like I mentioned earlier, I'm older now, so I knew that I wanted to prepare and cleanse and all of that stuff. So I do think that the tips that I will share in that video are very helpful. So if you plan to get pregnant, or you want to get pregnant, or you're going to try to get pregnant, then be on the lookout for that video, because that's going to go up soon. But I did do the green smoothies, and I still continued doing them when I was pregnant, when I first found out. But I got to the point where I had to kind of stop, just because I wasn't feeling it and I just didn't feel like having it. So I just listened to my body, and I just didn't have the green smoothies. I'm able to pick that back up now again, but I'm also, of course, listening to your body, and what it really needs is very important. I try to be mindful about making sure that I'm adding some sort of greens or some, you know, fruits into my diet. I wasn't so hard on myself in the first trimester, just because it's just a time. I personally think that the first trimester is a time of detox. It's just a time when your body's cleansing, your body's preparing, and I kind of just go with the flow. And then obviously now that I'm in the second trimester, I can really eat almost anything. So now I'm kind of just following my gut, my cravings. And that's why it's important to take your prenatals, because in the first trimester we can be a little bit deficient with the vomiting and the lack of appetite. So when I first got pregnant, actually before I got pregnant, I was taking some prenatals, And the brand, I don't have them anymore, but here is the brand that I was taking. And then once I ran out of those, I asked another mom which prenatal she was taking, and she told me about the Ritual brand. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. I almost finished these, but then I started realizing that they just were not working for me, and I think they were making my nausea worse. And once I changed them, it really did help. And I also think that these gave me heartburn because they have like the fishy taste, and they're vegan, so they do not actually have any like fish oils or anything like that in here. They just began grossing me out just because they're vegan. And not that I'm against people who are vegan, but I take fish oils, I eat, you know, all meats and dairy and all, so this just didn't really align with me. And I don't know, it just started grossing me out because it didn't have fish in it, but it was tasting fishy, and I was like, what the heck is this? So I stopped taking those, and I think that helped a lot, not taking these. So I don't like these. I don't recommend them unless maybe they'll work better for you, but I personally would never take these again. And like I said, I got through almost the whole bottle, so it was like kind of torturing myself a little bit at the beginning before I realized maybe it's the prenatals. And then so I started taking these. It's called Baby and Me Too, and I'll make sure to link all these things that I mentioned down below, like the apps and everything. What I love about these is that these are made with real fruits and veggies, so everything is natural, organic, non-GMO. I don't think these have omegas, so I do take fish oils on the side with these, and I also take magnesium. But yeah, these I definitely recommend, and I'll link them below. I bought them on Amazon. You might be able to find them in stores, but I live in Italy, so I have to shop on Amazon for like American brands. I think that is all. The other thing I would like to add is that we do know the gender already. We're gonna have a video on that very soon, so keep on the lookout for that. Subscribe to my channel if you are interested in watching more baby pregnancy related type of videos. And we're actually also going to be moving back to America soon, so that's all going to be documented. One last thing is to show you the bump the first trimester. Well, I'm 18 weeks, so it's obviously not my first trimester bump. I'm wearing black, so you probably can't see that well. You can kind of see it there. It definitely grows by the end of the day, but yeah, it's definitely showing now, so it's so nice. Like, I definitely miss all of this, so I love seeing my bump, and I love that I'm showing now. But that is all. I'm gonna wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys all soon. Bye.